Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Igcse Biology Help. In today's video, I'm going to be solving the May-June 2021 Paper 2 Variant 3. If you want the other variants, I have uploaded them on my channel, so check them out if you want. Now, please consider subscribing to my channel and liking my videos in order to support this channel. Now, let's start solving. Question number 1, what is a characteristic of all living organisms? Now, in this question, you should be choosing something that is part of the Mrs. Gren or part of the 7 characteristics of living organism. So over here, sensitivity is part of the 7 characteristics, so we're going to be choosing it. Number 2, what is the most accurate method of classifying animals? Now over here, we know that there was morphology and anatomy in the past, but now we don't use these because they are not as accurate as the DNA. So we're going to be choosing the identifying similarities in the DNA-based sequence because this is the most accurate and modern method. 3, scientists discover a new species of animal. It has segmented body with 2 pairs of legs on each segment. To which a group of animals does this new species belong? Now, they said there is 2 pairs of legs, which means they have 4 legs on each segment. So if they have like 5 segments or something, they will have like about 20 legs. So that's like a lot, but we don't know how much segments it has or anything about it, but we know that it has a segmented body and it has 2 pairs of legs in each of these segments. That means it is a myriapod. 4, in which part of a cell does photosynthesis take place? Now we know that photosynthesis takes place in the chloroplast, so we're going to be choosing that. Number 5, the diagram shows some of the blood vessels and other structures in the human body. The blood vessels shown are all parts of the same. Now over here we can see that the heart and the artery and vein are shown. It shows the pathway taken by the artery and the vein. As we can see here, there is the renal vein and the renal artery over here, and there is many others. So that is an organ system, the circulatory system. Number 6, a photograph shows a plant cell nucleus measuring 2 millimeters across. If the magnification of the cell is 500, what is the actual size of the nucleus? Now we know if we get a question like that, we should draw a triangle, which is called the I am triangle. This triangle will help you to identify the type of calculations you should make in this question. So they need the actual size. So we're going to be actually using the A in this triangle. So we're going to be dividing the image size over the magnification to get the actual size. Now the image size over here is 2 millimeters. Now we're going to be dividing 2 over the magnification, which is 500 as they indicated. So 2 divided by 500, that's going to give us 0.004. So that's going to be B. Number 7, by which process do oxygen and carbon dioxide move between cells in the capillaries? Now we know that any gas or any like oxygen or carbon dioxide, they all move by the diffusion process. Number 8, which process is involved in the uptake of glucose by the epithelial cells of the kidney tubules? Now we know this is an example of active transport as it's written in the biology syllabus. Now number 9, which element is found in proteins but not carbohydrates? Now over here we know that proteins have carbon, they have hydrogen, they have nitrogen, and they also have oxygen. So we know there's something that is extra in the protein, but it's not found in the carbohydrates or lipase or lipids, sorry. So we know that this is the nitrogen, so our answer will be C. Number 10, a DNA sample was tested to identify its bases. 35% of the bases in DNA were G. Which row shows the percentage of the other bases? Now, we know that G pairs with C and A pairs with T. So we need the highest amount of percentage to the C because it's the one that pairs with the G, which is the 35% of the bases, as they have said in the question. So over here, we know that in B, C has 35%, so 35% and 35% will make a 70%. And we need, of course, the other remaining 30%, which is going to be the A and the T. Number 11, starch is digested by amylase in the mouth, but it's not digested in the stomach. What is the reason for this? A says all starch digestion is completed in the mouth. Now, this is incorrect because there is also amylase enzyme that is secreted from the pancreas, and it also does some starch digestion. It's not only in the mouth, so this is incorrect. Now, B says the pH in the stomach is not suitable for amylase to work. Now, this is correct because in the stomach there is an acidic gas, and this acidic gas will not allow the amylase enzyme to work efficiently or work properly because it's going to be under its optimum pH, which is the pH 7. So, B is going to be our answer. Number 12. Which type of molecule are enzymes made of? Now, we know enzymes are actually protein, so we're going to be choosing that. Number 13, a plant with striped leaves was kept in the bright light for 6 hours. A leaf was then taken from the plant and the chlorophyll was removed. The leaf was then tested for starch using iodine solution. If you want to know more about the iodine solution, I have explained it in my paper 6 tips and tricks video. Which diagram shows the result of the test? Now, we know that any white part will turn into orange-brown. That's because the iodine solution is actually orange-brown in color without any reactants or any substance. So the white will just turn into the iodine solution color. Now, any green part will become blue-black. That is because the blue-black will be a result of the green color and the orange-brown reacting together to give us the blue-black color. Now, we know that the outer parts of the leaf is actually white, so that means it's going to be orange-brown in color, and this part inside will be blue-black. As we said, it's green, so as I explained over here, it's going to be blue-black. So we have to choose a part where the outer side is going to be orange-brown and the inner side is going to be blue-black. So that is exactly option A. Now 14, the graph shows daily carbon dioxide uptake and transpiration by the plant. The plant is adapted to live in very dry conditions. What can be concluded from this graph? Now over here we know that if there is less transpiration and less carbon dioxide uptake, that means there is a closed stomata and there is no intake or absorption of carbon dioxide by the plant. So if there is low transpiration and low carbon dioxide uptake in the same time, then the stomata is closed at that time. So let's check the options. Now, A says more stomata are closed during the dark periods. Now, we know that the dark periods are from hour 17, 18, 20, or even 16. So over here, from hour 16, actually, it began to increase. As you can see, there is a difference between before hour 16 and there's a difference after hour 16. It was actually increasing over here. So in the dark hours, it was actually opened, not closed. So option A will not work for us. B says more stomata are closed during the light periods. Now, over here, this is from 4 a.m., 8 a.m., 12 a.m. until like about maybe 5 p.m. or something. It was decreasing. As the time moved on, it decreased over here. It decreased very rapidly, and then during the light hours, it remained decreased. So that means, as I said, the stomata will be closed because there is decreased carbon dioxide and transpiration. So B will be our answer. 15. Statements 1 to 4 describe stages in the development of Chloria. What is the correct sequence of the 4 stages? Now, let's see if 1 or 4 will be our beginning. So over here, 1 says chloride ions are secreted into the gut. 4 says toxins are produced by the pathogenic bacteria. Now, of course, we're going to be starting off with 4 because chloride ions are a result of the toxins being produced actually, and chloride ions are not going to be secreted out of nowhere. There has to be something stimulating it. So number 4 will be our beginning, so that means we're going to be choosing between C and D and not A and B. Now, C says 4 and then 1, which is the chloride ion secretion. And also D says that. Now the difference is here. The difference 2 in C says 4, 1 and then 2, which is osmosis causes water potential, water to move into the gut. Now 3 says the infected person becomes dehydrated. Now this makes sense. The osmosis has to take place first so the person can become dehydrated. Over here in D, it says the person became dehydrated and then the osmosis took place. So this is incorrect, of course. We have to, of course, the osmosis has to take place first and then the person will be dehydrated. 16. What is the cause of the start of dental decay? Now we know that dental decay actually occurs because there is bacteria that secretes or produces some acid, and this acid will dissolve the enamel, which is the strongest layer in the teeth. So when this layer will begin to melt down or dissolve, then it will go to the dentin, which is below it. So of course we can't be choosing A over here because dentin is below the enamel, and the enamel is the first layer that gets exposed to the acid produced by the bacteria. So it's going to be B. 17. During transpiration, what describes the movement of water at X and at Y? Now we know that at X, this is actually the spongy mesophyll cell, and at Y we know that this is the guard cell and stomata over here in the middle. So this is the stomata over here, this space. So we know that at X, transpiration occurs because there is evaporation of the water layer on the spongy mesophyll, so there is evaporation. But at Y, there is actually diffusion going on because there is gases that go out, such as oxygen, which is the waste product of photosynthesis, and the carbon dioxide enters the leaf over here through the stomata as well. So there is always diffusion in the stomata and the guard cells, and there is always evaporation in X because of the transpiration. So it's going to be A for this question. A ring of phloem tissue was removed from the stem of a plant as shown in the first diagram. Carbon dioxide containing radioactive carbon was supplied to the leaf of the plant. The second diagram shows where radioactive carbon was present after 3 hours. Which statements does the experiment support? Now we need the correct statements. Over here, statement 1 says translocation of sugar only occurs in one direction. Now this is incorrect because over here, translocation went upwards, so there was this one direction, and then there was another direction going like this to the right. So this is not just one direction. So this is incorrect. This statement is incorrect. Now, statement 2 says translocation occurs in the phloem. Now this is correct because over here in this section where the phloem was cut, there was no movement of the radioactive carbon. There was only in the part where the phloem was present over here at the top. So this is correct. Now 3, translocation requires energy. This is of course incorrect. So our answer will be C, which is 2 only. 19, through which blood vessels does blood flow into the heart? Now of course we know that veins are actually towards the heart, and arteries are away from the heart. So we need something that is a vein over here, which is actually the vena cava, of course, and the pulmonary vein, which is the vein or the blood vessel that is coming from the lungs that contains oxygenated blood that flows into the left chamber of the heart. So our answer will be C, 2 and 3. 20. What is an angioplasty? Now we know that angioplasty is actually the balloon-like structure that is inserted into the blood vessel to treat or cure the coronary heart disease. Now over here, D is going to be our answer because it said balloon-like device. 21. A child is vaccinated against measles. After a period of time, the child is infected with the measles virus. The graph shows how the concentration of measles antibodies in the child's bloodstream during this time. Which statement is consistent with the information in the graph? Now, over here we can tell that there was some memory cells production in this period of time. There was a very large increase in the antibody concentration in the blood. So when memory cells are produced, they usually produce antibodies when there is another infection for the second time, so it can destroy or fight the pathogens in the blood. Now over here we should choose something where there was production of memory cells, and that is going to be option A. 22. Which sequence of changes takes place when we breathe in? Now when we breathe in, or also known as inhalation, the diaphragm actually contracts, so we're going to be choosing between A and B in this question. A says the volume of the thorax increases and the pressure in the lungs decreases. Now this is correct, because as we know that pressure and volume are opposite to each other, meaning that pressure and the volume can't be the same. They can't be both increased or both decreased. One of them has to be increased and the other has to be decreased, or vice versa. So our answer will be A. 23. Which statement applies to respiration? Now in respiration, it involves enzymes. This is actually correct because it's a chemical reaction, and any chemical reactions are actually altered by enzymes. So this is a correct answer. 24. Which statement about respiration is correct? Deep breathing after exercise reduces an oxygen depth. Now this is actually a correct information, because we know that deep breathing will actually increase the oxygen in the blood, because you're taking oxygen from the atmosphere, and the lactic acid will be aerobically respired in the liver to remove the oxygen depth. So our answer will be A. 25. A student carried out an experiment to investigate the effect of temperature on the volume of urine produced. Which row shows the experiment where the environmental temperature was increased from 20 to 40, but no other changes were made? Now in the 20, there is of course going to be a higher concentration of urine. That is because there is less sweating, and when someone sweats, they're going to decrease the volume of the urine. And in the other one, 40, it has to be lower volume. That is because they're going to sweat and they're going to decrease their volume of urine produced. So this is going to be actually B. 26. Which row shows the levels of organization for the structures associated with the eye? Now over here, B is going to be the answer, because eye is an organ, tissue is a retina, and the cells are rod, and also the organ system is nervous. This is all correct options, so B. 27. Which row correctly compares hormonal control with nervous control? Now we know that the nervous control is faster, but it's less long lasting than the hormonal control. So the hormonal control is actually a slow response, but it's actually going to last longer than the nervous. So we're going to be choosing something where there is slow and there is long lasting effect. So that is actually going to be B. 28. Which statement about the regulation of human body temperature is correct? A says vasoconstriction of skeletal arterioles occurs when the body temperature is too low. Now this is correct. Vasoconstriction takes place because it's going to prevent heat loss by the environment of the skin and the blood temperature. So A is going to be our answer. 29. Why are people advised not to drive a car after drinking an excessive quantity of alcohol? Now we know that alcohol will actually increase the reaction time, so it will take longer for someone to maybe recognize or acknowledge that they are in a car or something, or if an accident occurs, they're going to it will take them more time to know or know about their surroundings or what's going around them. So our answer will be A, because it's a depressant. 30. What is a disadvantage of asexual reproduction when a new crop disease appears on a farm? Now we know that asexual reproduction will not cause genetic variation. It's going to all be the same plants, and if a disease comes into the field, all of them will be affected in the same way. So this is going to be a loss for the farmer. So let's read the options. Now option A says asexual reproduction only requires one parent plant. Now, this is not really related to the disease. So B says asexual reproduction does not require a pollinator. This is also not related. C says asexual reproduction does not lead to genetic variation in offspring. Now, this is correct, and this is a reason why it's going to be a disadvantage when a new crop disease appears. 31. Where is progesterone produced in the late stages of pregnancy? That means it's produced maybe in after month 1, month 2. So as we all know that progesterone is secreted from the corpus luteum. So it's not going to be secreted from the corpus luteum in the pregnancy. It's going to be secreted by the placenta. So our answer will be C. 32. The diagram shows structures involved in the synthesis of an enzyme in a cell. What is structure 2? Now, we know that structure 2 is actually the mRNA, messenger RNA. This is going to copy the instructions, or going to copy the a copy of the DNA. As you can see here, it's the same as the mRNA. It carried a copy of it, really. It's nearly the same. So the answer is going to be messenger RNA. 33. Which definition of mitosis is correct? It is actually a nuclear division giving rise to genetically identical cells. So it's going to be B. 34. What happens during meiosis? A diploid cell actually is going to become a haploid cell. So we're going to be choosing between C and D. Now, C says a diploid cell produces haploid cells that are genetically identical. Now, this is incorrect because this is not mitosis. This is actually meiosis, which produces genetic variation. So our answer will be D because it says they are genetically different. So it's D. 35. What is a correct description of gene mutation? Now, we know that gene mutation is a change in the DNA base sequence. So it's going to be B. 36. Adaptive features are inherited features that increase fitness. What is the definition of fitness? Now, as we all know, the definition is actually C, the probability of our organism surviving and reproducing in the environment in which it is found. So 37. The diagram shows energy transfer through a food chain. The labeled arrows represent the energy transfers. Which energy transfers are shown by the labeled arrows? Now, we know that X is going to be heat energy, and W is going to be light energy, and this is going to be chemical energy. Between Y and Z, it's going to be chemical as well here. Now, let's read the options. 37A says X is heat energy transfer and Z is chemical energy transfer. Well, this is correct because, as I said here, X is actually heat energy and Z is chemical energy as well as Y. So our answer will be A. 38. The organism in a food chain can be represented by pyramids of number or pyramids of biomass. Which diagram represents a pyramid of numbers? Now, over here, we know that a pyramid of numbers is not going to be like a symmetrical in shape or pyramidal in shape. So it's going to be B actually. That is because these all show a pyramid of biomass, and as we all know that the producers will always have the highest biomass. So this is the only one where the rabbits and the fleas, there is no, like, it doesn't go from largest to smallest and to the smallest. It's just like asymmetrical in shape, and it's not like, you know, pyramidal in shape. 39. Scientists wanted to know which one of the different 4 varieties of bacteria would be the best to use to make a protein. The results are shown in the table. Which variety of bacteria should the scientists use? Now, over here, we need a highest mass of bacteria as much as possible, and the also highest mass of protein per gram of bacteria. So it's going to be A actually. And why not C? C is not going to work. That is because it has a lower mass of bacteria. Over here, some people chose this C option because of the highest mass of protein. Well, this is incorrect, because if you're going to calculate it, they said there is 12 milligrams of protein per gram of bacteria, and over here they have 100 grams compared with the 200 over here. Yes, there is a lower mass of protein, but this is going to be higher because there's higher mass of bacteria overall than this one. This is 100 only, so if you want to calculate it, you're going to get, this is going to be the highest value out of the compared with the C1. So this is going to be 10 milligrams per gram of bacteria. Over here we have 200 grams, which is more, so this is going to be the answer A. Question number 40. The graph shows the annual deforestation and annual net release of carbon dioxide from an area of tropical forest between 1990 and 2001. Which statements are correct? Now let's read the statements. One says the highest rate of deforestation occurred in 1995. This is actually correct because 1995 over here has the highest size of the graph over here, so this is actually a correct statement. Number 2 says there is a close relationship between annual deforestation and carbon dioxide release. Now, yes, there is really some sort of relationship between the two values, because as you can see here, when it decreased, it also decreased over here and here, and it was increasing, and then it reached like the highest over here. Also, the carbon dioxide reached the highest. Really, it has a similar shape with the bar graph. So yes, we can say that this statement is correct. 3 says the annual net release of carbon dioxide increases every year. Now, this is incorrect because as we can see here, the graph is not constantly going up. This is actually moving, fluctuating from increasing and decreasing. So this is not really always increasing. It's not increasing every year. So our answer will be A, 1 and 2 only. Now, thank you all for watching. Please consider subscribing and liking my videos because this will really help support my channel, as my channel is fairly new. Now, please make sure to send me a comment if you need me to solve for you a specific paper, or you need me to maybe explain for you something that you didn't understand in the video. Thank you for watching and good luck with your exams.